Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce many different revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film, at the end of the day, is going to be a revelation film. It's going to have a lot of twists and turns that's really going to change our view of the past 8 Star Wars films that come before this one in this current trilogy. And what's really exciting about that is that, yes, it is a big risk by Disney and Lucasfilm, and yes, you know, it's all a matter of how it's going to be executed on the big screen, but at the same exact time, I will say that I'm very intrigued and very fascinated about what's coming our way for this movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intense for Anakin Skywalker and Rey. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of Rey traveling to the Lost City, where it's described that she is heading toward the Land of Warriors and is in search of a place called the Lake of Dreams. It's said that eventually Rey discovers the Lake of Dreams, which holds a connection to the beyond, where once she goes in and floats, it's said that she begins to feel a strange presence that is said to be the whispers of Anakin's Force Ghost reaching out to Rey and guiding her through the Lake of Dreams, and its connection to the beyond. It's said that Anakin is able to offer partial truths of Rey's identity, one of which is that Anakin explains to Rey that she herself holds a connection to the beyond itself and even has ties to individuals associated with both the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. It's described that Anakin also explains that Rey is a virgin of the Force, where Anakin is said to call her by a certain name through ancient Jedi language. Additionally, it's said that Anakin's Force Ghost unveils that he knows the full answer of Rey's identity. However, in order for her to complete her training properly, she must find out the full answer on her own. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, because this is very interesting stuff here when we go into the Lost City, specifically in the Lake of Dreams, which is a location in the Land of Warriors, which is a place full of ancient Jedi ruins and statues. So the Lake of Dreams is said to have a connection, if you will, a bridge to the beyond itself, where once Rey goes in there, she experiences the whispers of Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost, since it was actually Anakin who caused the Lake of Dreams to hold a connection to the beyond itself during his time in the Netherworld. Now, through Anakin's guidance, he is able to answer partial truths about Rey's identity, one of which being is that Rey is a virgin of the Force. Now, what's really exciting about that is that makes Rey a Force nexus, if you will, which is a concentration of the Force. The other thing is that Rey originates from characters, individuals, if you will, that are both associated with the dark and the light. Now, that is very interesting as to whether or not that means she's either connected to Palpatine or another character that we are very familiar with, etc. You know, things really do seem to be shaping up with this movie to make Rey a very interesting character by J.J. Abrams. Now, the other thing is this, is that Anakin Skywalker is said to call Rey by a different name, however through ancient Jedi language that she does not understand. Now, you can really see all the hints and all the mysterious aspects that are being done in this particular sequence of Anakin revealing certain elements of Rey's identity in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, this is also to take place within the second act of Episode 9, and I think the most interesting part of this is, of course, how she originates from both characters that are associated with the dark and the light side of the Force, as well as how Rey is said to be a virgin of the Force, if you will. So this movie, like I say, it is taking a lot of risks. It's taking a lot of different steps in order to do something very much different in comparison to what they did with The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. Since this movie is really going to be heavy on Jedi, Sith, and Force lore, as well as tapping into the mythology of Star Wars on a different scale, it really does make me very optimistic about this film. It makes me more excited, if you will, and I think that the driving force of the hype of this movie is not just the return of Palpatine, but it's also the debut of these different pieces of Jedi, Sith, and Force lore that's going to be used in very unique ways to really develop our characters like Rey and Kylo Ren. So these reveals by Anakin Skywalker, these partial truths of Rey's identity, are very interesting, and it really gets the audience thinking as to exactly what's going to really happen with Rey and exactly the full answer of where she really comes from and who she really is. Yes, she is now a virgin in the Force, and that essentially means that she's a Force nexus, a concentration of the Force, if you will. And the other thing is that she is also associated with two individuals from the dark and the light side of the Force. So that really is something very intriguing indeed. That really gets me thinking and scratching my head as to exactly where J.J. Abrams really is bringing the fans in Episode 9 and exactly where it's going to leave Rey off at the very end of this movie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.